Hello from this beautiful autumn day in Australia, and happy Harmony Week to you all. Here in Australia we are celebrating Harmony Week with a theme that everyone belongs. And so today I thought I would share one of my most delicious cultural dessert recipes from the country that I was born in, and that was Australia. And I actually did a survey of about 500 people, 550 people, and the dessert that was the most favorite for South Africans is called milk tart. Now it's kind of like custard tart, but there's no custard powder in it. So that's what we're going to make today. Now, primarily this channel is for children to bake, but boys and girls, if you're watching with mum and dad, you will need a little bit of help with this milk tart recipe because we need the stove top. So I've already got this hot plate on. The milk can warm up. I'm only making a single serve of milk tart, so I've got about 200 mils, maybe 250 mils of milk here. I will post a full recipe in the comments below for you. So that's going to heat up here in this pot while we do some of the other mixing. I'll just put this up over there off of the heat. Then over here I've got 50 mils of sugar, white sugar, and I've got 1 egg. Going to crack the egg into the sugar while the milk is heating. I can watch it nice and closely. Remember, we always keep our eggshells, we wash them and keep them in our not recycle bin. What's it called? Oh, compost bin. There we go. All right, now we're going to whisk the sugar and the egg together until it's nice and foamy. And the recipe does specifically say to use a whisk, so it's not your handheld mixer. You need a whisk. I'm sure you could use a handheld mixer on low speed if you wanted to, but give your egg and your sugar a good old whisk until it's nice and foamy. And then we're going to add a pinch of salt as well. Don't you think that's looking nice and foamy? I think that'll do. Pinch of salt, or a pinch of salt is really just literally a pinch into the egg and sugar mixture. There we go, whisk that up. And then in this glass bowl, I've got 1 spoon of corn flour. The spoon that I'm using is a dessert spoon. It's usually the one that we eat with. Corn flour is important because it's the one that will thicken your milk mixture. So that goes into your egg and sugar. Make sure you whisk all the lumps away. I always use my whisk. It's amazing to get the lumps out. Okay, in goes the corn flour. Oh, all of the corn flour. There we go, and I'll keep whisking. How magical is my whisk? No lumps whatsoever. Okay, and then we also need 2 spoons of flour. Now, I've only got self-raising flour, but that's okay. It might just make it light and fluffy. We'll wait and see, right? 2 dessert spoons. There's 1 and 2. Okay. Whisk that up so there are no lumps. There we go. How's my milk doing? My milk's getting nice and warm. And then that's going to go into the milk mixture, and we're going to mix that for a few minutes until it thickens into a delicious dessert consistency. So this part, boys and girls, mixing the egg and the sugar and the corn flour, the flour and the salt, you can do quite easily by yourselves with a whisk. It's the stove part that mommy or daddy or an adult will have to help you with. Just going to turn the heat down. We don't want to burn the milk, and we don't want to boil the milk. We also need a teaspoon of vanilla essence. Now the original recipe also had, the original recipe also has almond essence, but I don't have almond essence, so I'm just going to add a full teaspoon of vanilla essence into the egg mixture with the flour, salt and corn flour and the sugar. Stir in the vanilla essence, and then when we mix the egg mixture into the milk, we actually take the milk off of the hot plate. So I've got my pot, whoa, it's wet. Oh, yuck. Hang on a sec. I must have spilled some of the egg maybe. All right, so I've got my pot stand there for the hot pot. Please be careful with hot pots and milk. It is very warm. I'm sure you can see some of the steam rising. Okay, now I'm going to, this is going to be tricky because I need to pour the egg mixture in while I'm whisking so that the lumps don't form. And that way your egg, oh, see in my pot, there we are, the pot's not turning quite so much. I will show you the pot mixture, the milk mixture inside the pot. That way the egg will cook a little bit, not like a fried egg, but you won't be eating a raw egg in your milk tart. It will be warmed with the milk because we will put it back on the heat, stirring all the time. There we are, all the egg mixture is in. Just put that down over there. Now you can see the milk mixture, and it goes back onto the heat. There we are. I might turn the heat back up a little bit so it can go nice and thick. Stirring all the time. It's important to keep stirring with your whisk so that your milk tart doesn't get any lumps. And then traditionally milk tart is served on a base, a pastry base or a biscuit base. But because I'm only making a single serve, this recipe that I'm following says that I can break up some biscuits into my bowl and then layer the biscuits and the milk tart on top of each other. So sort of not crushed biscuits, but nice chunky broken pieces of biscuit, and then some milk tart, and then some more crushed biscuits, and then some milk tart. And then on top of that, where did I put my cinnamon? Oh, on top of that you put a sprinkling of cinnamon, kind of like donut flavor. Delicious. All right, I can feel with my whisk that the mixture's starting to get a little bit thick now. So I need to make sure I keep stirring a little bit faster to make sure the lumps stay away. We don't want any lumps in our milk tart. So I'd actually love to know, what is the traditional dessert, your favorite traditional dessert in the country that you live? Please let me know in the comments, and if you'd like me to share the recipe and bake the recipe here on our Foodie Fun channel, I would love to do that. Like I said, where I come from originally, South Africa, milk tart is definitely the favorite dessert. Here in Australia, where I live, I actually haven't done that survey. I would say, I know lamingtons are pretty popular in Australia. If you're listening and you can let me know what the favorite dessert here in Australia is, that would be awesome. Like I said, I actually did a survey of South Africans to ask what their favorite dessert was. So I know milk tart is a winner for sure. Can you see the steam rising there? It's getting quite nice and hot now. Getting a little bit thicker. And then you have to place it in the fridge for about 4 hours. It has to set kind of like a fridge tart, almost. So this one will be ready for my afternoon tea because it's midday where I am now. So by 4 o'clock, it will definitely be ready for my cup of coffee and a lovely bowl of milk tart. Like I said, let me know in the comments what your favorite dessert is. There we are. Things are happening. I can feel the whisk is getting a bit harder to stir because the milk mixture is starting to thicken up. That's going to be so lovely for my afternoon tea. And there we are. Can you see the mixture's nice and thick now? Much thicker than when we poured the milk and egg mixture in, wasn't it? Okay. Just about done. Now, the rest of it will thicken up in the fridge. Like I say, it does need to be covered because you don't want the fridge foods to be absorbed into the milk tart. There we go. That's what we want. Nice and thick. Okay, I'm just going to stir the stove. Stir the stove. Switch the stove off. And then, while it stands, I'll show you how I'm going to break my biscuits into the bottom of my bowl and then pour my milk tart in. I've just realized something. I've got a plastic bowl here and this mixture is really, really hot. Can you see how nice and thick it is? Wow, doesn't that look good? That's going to firm up just beautifully in the fridge for my afternoon tea. I actually just need to swap it out for a glass bowl. So let me just quickly do that in my pantry over here. Sorry about that, boys and girls. Just getting a glass bowl. Oh, there we go. All right, got my glass bowl, similar size. So make sure I put that off of the stove. Here are the wafers. Cut it open. You can choose any of your favorite biscuits that you like, and if you want your milk tart, it actually is milk tart. in our language. If you want your milk tart on a crust, a pie crust pastry, that's fine too. I'll show you the crumbled biscuit so you can see how big I'm making the chunky pieces. That way I get nice crunchy pieces of biscuit in my milk tart, see? Now, the recipe said to layer some biscuits and some milk tart. Oh, that's so perfect. I'm really excited for this. Okay, some of the milk tart goes in. Wow, look how good that is. And then some more crackers or biscuits, whatever you're deciding to use on that layer. There we go. I don't even think I'm going to sprinkle cinnamon on. I think I'm just going to taste the flavor of the chocolate biscuits. How good does that look? Milk tart with a crust of crushed biscuits. Delicious. I'm just going to I decided to grab the cinnamon. There we go. Lovely little small sprinkle of cinnamon on my milk tart. I do hope you enjoy yours, and please let me know in the comments what your favorite dessert is. Thanks for joining me. Bye for now.